relationships in that club.
Right.
He did some things in that club, so he was part of the club. What triggered him? That's something I guess will come out later.
I talked to a pastor who actually spoke with the Eatonville police officer, and he told me they get that signal that goes out that every officer is supposed to heading that way. And this officer apparently kept telling his wife, they're going to call me off, they're going to call him off. He was like the second officer in there, the one we saw on national television pulling those bodies out. I mean, that's an officer going into a situation and just doing what he can.
Exactly, and it's all about saving lives. It's all about protecting our citizens and protecting lives and saving them.
And we saw a number of forces work together, which was great. And that could be hard with law enforcement when you're all on different signals and they all work together, and they had to.
Well, you know, law enforcement may have their rivalry, but when it comes to something like this, you'll be surprised how unified they become.
It becomes a very fluid motion.
And there's no longer, I don't like your agency, you're from this agency. No, everybody works together for a common goal, and that common goal is to protect the victims and get them out.
Absolutely.
Nothing else and nothing more.
Christopher, stay with us. We're going to talk one more coming up here as well about racial profiling. Interesting topic as well. Donald Trump says America should racially profile people in order to stop terrorism. We're going to discuss that with Christopher coming up after the break as well. Stay with us. Much more ahead on Orlando Matters. And a gorgeous look at Orlando as well. It has been a busy week and a half for sure, and certainly the city continues to heal. There's been plenty of talk and fireworks from the GOP's presumptive nominee, Donald Trump, doubling down on his controversial immigration policy, clearing up a gun control statement, and then he says, "You're fired," to his campaign manager. Fox News senior correspondent John Roberts now with a campaign twist just a month out from the convention.
With just a month until the convention and his poll numbers going sharply the wrong way, Donald Trump today took the remarkable step of firing his longtime campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski.
With Corey, I'm really proud of him. He did a great job, but we're going to go a little bit of a different route.
A campaign source tells Fox News it came to a showdown between Lewandowski and Trump's Washington campaign chief, Paul Manafort. Manafort, according to the source, let it be known that he couldn't work with Lewandowski anymore, and that if things didn't change, he would be gone in 48 hours. Trump's children and son-in-law, Jared Kushner, were said to be very concerned that losing Manafort, who they saw as the more experienced hand, could be fatal to the campaign. After participating in the daily morning strategy call, on which participants said there seemed nothing amiss, Lewandowski was told by Trump that his services were no longer needed. After being escorted from the building, Lewandowski today tried to deflect any criticism of his management style, saying, quote, "Paul Manafort has been in operational control of the campaign since April 7th. That's a fact."
It's been so amazing, and I wouldn't change 1 second of my time with Mr. Trump other than to say thank you. It's been a great privilege and an honor. So.
Wow, what a group.
The move clears the way for experienced Washington hands to try to guide Trump toward a more traditional campaign, one less consumed with daily controversies of the candidate's own making. Today, Trump had to clarify remarks he made in the wake of the Orlando shooting, when he said if people inside had guns, the carnage may have been contained.
One of the people in that room happened to have it and goes boom, boom. You know what? That would have been a beautiful, beautiful sight, folks.
After being criticized for appearing to advocate partygoers getting into gunfights, Trump today tweeted, quote, "I was obviously talking about additional guards or employees." Trump also raised eyebrows over the weekend, doubling down on a statement he first made after the San Bernardino shooting in December that law enforcement may need to resort to profiling to combat terrorism.
Other countries do it, and it's not the worst thing to do. I hate the concept of profiling, but we have to use common sense. We're not using common sense.
While Trump supporters have no issue with such pronouncements, Republican leaders get awfully queasy. House Speaker Paul Ryan says he won't abandon Trump, insisting it would cause a chasm in the party, though he does wish Trump would change his ways.
Yes, there are things that he has said that I don't agree with. There are policies he's pursuing that I don't agree with. And in the legislative branch, a separate but equal branch of government, we will litigate those things in the future.
Trump is urgently in need of a reboot if he hopes to set his campaign back on course. Over the weekend, he said he was going to campaign in Utah, where polls show a close race with Hillary Clinton. Utah hasn't voted for a Democrat since Lyndon Johnson in 1964. and most Republicans have won the state with margins of between 30 and 50%. In New York, John Roberts, Fox News.
And so Christopher Hinn back. It's a book, an 8-hour course that you have taught law enforcement on terrorism, on Islam. So, I mean, this is right down your alley. When you hear the talks of either banning Muslims or the racial profiling, what concerns you about that, or is it the right way to go?
Well, let's step back. Let's look at the last 15 years of after 9/11. We have, I think, over 70 plots or more have been unsuccessful. And the individuals that are in this, they're not Middle Eastern, like Richard Reed, Jose Padilla, Ian Ferris, okay, this guy Ali.
Back in a lot of the Al-Qaeda days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Kevin James, you know, Jihad James, we call her, the Virginia Six. If you're going to profile, you have to have better education for our, if you want to talk about TSA or you want to talk about law enforcement, what are you profiling and how do you profile? Look at the Israeli models. They look at your history, your background. They know everything about you before you get to the airport, before you even get close to the airport. They know about you when you book your flight. You get on the list.
And Donald Trump has referenced Israel as a pattern for what the U.S. should move toward.
Israel has created a great model over the years. That's why you don't see any problems on their flights. They take extensive time to vet you through security. But if you're a concern, let me tell you, you'll be watched on the plane, during your trip to Israel, and when you get back.
Here's the frustration. We hear this see something, say something, yet there was a gun dealer that refused to sell him. He saw something, he reported it. Now, he didn't have a name, and I think that hurt the FBI as well. But a lot of people in the public see that, and they think, we had an opportunity to stop him. He'd already spoken to the FBI 2 different times. Are those the things that have to be cleaned up to stop something like this from occurring?
Again, when you have a subject in front of you, you're not sure, and you're concerned, call the FBI, call the local law enforcement. I'd rather be safe than sorry. And if you don't know, find out, learn. But I think it goes back, when you're educated about, you know, what is the threat. We look at individuals who are wearing the hijab or the kafiyah or whatever, the thobe, or, you know, they're telling you they're from the Middle East. I don't know that I would be concerned a lot about them, but I'm more concerned about the ones who go underground, who get dressed like the 9/11 guys, they fit in, they mingle in, and they're the guys who we got concerned with.
CARE seems to get louder and louder with, they're condemning these actions and they're saying this is not Islam, this is a distortion of Islam.
Well, this is a great distortion of radicalization. When you get radicalized, doesn't matter, again, we name some Americans and some Arabs and some Indians and some Pakistanis, and backgrounds are all mixed. You have to, I think, to work with local mosques, go sit in a parking lot. I know that's going to sound horrible, but sometimes you can sit in the mosque, in a parking lot, and watch how many people go in and what age bracket. If they're all in their 50s or 40s and 50s and 60s, you're okay. But then you see a mosque that has younger crowd, mixed crowds, Arab background, Pakistani, Indian, whatever. Maybe you should pay attention and find out what that imam is preaching. I'm not talking about Orlando, I'm talking across the nation.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he left the country to be radicalized? Or can he do it right here the way the internet is?
He can do it right here. We say he went to Saudi. You know, he went probably to Saudi, to Mecca and Medina to get, you know, what your faith is. It's a must for all Islam. Once in a lifetime.
Have to go there, yeah.
So, you know, I think he got radicalized right here, and I think he got a lot of his information here, and he used that as the excuse as ISIS.
Christopher Hinn, always great to talk to you. We could talk for an hour. I wish you had more time, but it's great to see you, and you have so much insight into this, so appreciate you sharing that with us as well. We will be right back to talk much more here on Orlando Matters. And looking live one more time at Orlando as we head into the hot summer months. We've touched some really difficult topics, and it's been a lot to work through as well. Really appreciate Christopher Hinn coming in and talking about some of these as well. Thank you as well for joining us here on Orlando Matters. Remember, the news starts on our sister station, Fox 35 at 8 o'clock. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you next week.